Speed, endurance and total fitness is what is required. Triathlon is one of the most exciting spectator sports of the 90s. The ITU World Tour is the competition ground for the world's best. Last season ended with Australia taking a clean sweep, with Chris McCormack and Emma Carney winning both the World Championship and World Cup titles.
I think each year is so different to the year before. You know, people say, you know, you've won the World Cup 3 times. I don't think you can ever win anything too often. You know, I'd like to go down as many wins on the World Cup circuit as I can, as many World Championships as I can. So I haven't achieved hardly anything, I don't think.
The season's opener brings us once again to the small island of Ishigaki in Japan. This is the 3rd year that the tour has come to this island in the South China Sea and also provides an excellent racing ground for over 75 elite men and 55 elite women. As a testament to the class of the field here in Japan, 17 out of the world's top 20 women and 16 out of the top 20 men will step up to the start line today. Australia has dominated the sport of triathlon for many years and currently holds both world champions. All the main contenders are here in Ishigaki. Coming off their summer season means that they are the ones in form. Those to watch out for include world #1 and unbeaten on this course, Emma Carney. Jackie Gallagher has won the Australian Grand Prix Series this past summer. Kaylee Jones, 2 times world champion and the only person to beat Emma Carney last year. Rena Hill, world #4, can never be discounted. The course is over the Olympic distance, starting with a 2-lap, 1,500-metre swim in the crystal blue harbour waters. This is followed by a 6.5-lap, 40-kilometre cycle race. The main feature of the course being the Southern Gate Bridge, which the athletes have to negotiate 14 times. A technical course which should favour the more experienced cyclists. Having raced for approximately 1 hour and 20 minutes, the athletes are then faced with a 10-kilometre run through the crowded streets of Ishigaki. Just a few moments away from the start of the first World Cup of the 1998 season, and as always, joining myself, Nick Fellows, in the commentary box, former world #3, Catherine Davis, our special guest for the opening event of the season. The atmosphere down there is electric. All eyes are on the Australians, who have come off the back of their summer Grand Prix series and should be in top race form and fitness. As you can see, the waters are crystal clear. This is one of the events that the swim section is most favoured, and with a salt water swim, buoyancy will also be a key factor. Catherine, the season is underway. It seems like yesterday that we were at the World Championships, but it is the Australians that start as pre-race favourites.
They certainly do. They've been racing well over their summer season as well, and this first race of the season is so important. You really want to make your mark. The Europeans will want to show that they've been training hard. The Australians will want to show that they haven't left too much of themselves in their summer season and that they've got a lot left to show for this World Cup series.
Well, let's take a look at this swim course. As we said earlier, it's 1,500-metre swim, just 2 laps, and it will be quite a speedy start with the salt water. And speedy start indeed it is for Loretta Harrop and Rena Hill, both going away very quickly indeed and looking to set an early pace. Moving back through the field, the fluo green cap is the one to watch out for, the defending World Cup and World Champion. Emma Carney gets off to a better start than we've been used to over the past couple of seasons, doing well to stay up there with the leaders. But also good news for the Europeans as the French #1, Isabelle Mouton, overtakes Carney and swims through to go into the top 5. The Europeans challenging, but the Australians still dominating. After a 4-month break from World Cup competition, we caught up with some of the main contenders to find out what their preparation had been for this first race of the series.
I've probably put together the best 4 months of solid training in my career. I've improved my run, I've improved my swim, and I think my bike's a lot stronger. So I think with the Olympics just around the corner, there's no time to take breaks. So I've just basically knuckled down for 4 months.
I think my running is not yet so good, but I have still a lot of time before the World Champions and European Champions. So for tomorrow it's just a test to see where I'm standing and with the rest, because it's like a small World Championships now, so you can see if your level is high enough or not.
Well, in the past I've really focused on the Australian season and focused on the Grand Prix races, and also focused on the World Championships, and maybe less so on the ITU World Cup series. But on this year, while I did focus again on the Grand Prix series, I was really aware of wanting to do well in World Cup. So I think I've trained a little differently. I've certainly done a lot more work, and I think I'm better prepared to make the transition from the short racing to the World Cup racing.
I try to improve every year my swimming, biking and running and transition to every year. I want to, I know I can improve very little, but I still can improve. So I want to reach the top.
I've just been mainly training. I did a race in Brazil, which I won. You know, just getting a good background in for the season ahead. And, you know, it was a long season last year, so I didn't want to do too many races early. So this is really my first race in a while. So it's going to be interesting. It'll tell me how my training's been going.
Back to the action, just over 8 minutes into the first of 2 laps in this 1500-metre swim section, and Loretta Harrop is starting to string out the field in the early stages. Emma Carney has dropped down to 22nd position, which is disappointing, but it's something that is not unheard of or unseen in World Cup triathlon. Catherine, we've seen Emma Carney back in the 30s and then battle through the cycle and still win in the run section, so I'm sure she won't be panicking just yet, although the young former junior champion Loretta Harrop is swimming very fast.
Well, Emma certainly is one of the strongest bikers and runners out there, if not the strongest. But we did see in last year's World Cup how some of the swimmers were able to give Emma a bit of a scare. They got so much time on her during the swim, and they managed to maintain that distance during the bike, that she really has to be careful about her swim this year. Well,
there is no question that Loretta Harrop is the first out of the water. A very strong swim indeed for this 21-year-old. And we'll come around the buoy into the water for the second lap. Another 750 metres to be taken in. Barb Lindquist for the United States of America is out of the water second. That's good news. Rena Hill is up there with her. There we see the second American in the top 5, Jennifer Gutierrez. She's 4th, just ahead of Kemp Arendt of Luxembourg, keeping the European chances alive. Michaeli Jones and Isabelle Mouton come out of the water. About 30 seconds off. Also, Gail Lawrence for the United States of America is having a good swim section in the early stages. Well, back into the stroke pattern once again, and Loretta Harrop, a very strong swimmer indeed. Mika Sues, 58 seconds there in the orange cap. The Belgium #1, a winner on the tour last season, looking to find out where she lies within the field in this early part of the season. Emma Carney we look for now, and appears on our screens just over a minute off the pace, down in the 20s, as always leaving herself work to do. The Hungarian Erika Molnar, 1 minute 27 seconds down on the Australian leader, Loretta Harrop. Loretta Harrop was yet another new face to emerge from Australian triathlon last season. She has always swam well, but for the first time was challenging the US swim specialist Barb Lindquist for pole position coming into the bike section. As Emma Carney approached transition, she lay 1 minute 47 behind the leader, with 2 times world champion Michaeli Jones 51 seconds in front of her. Out of the water into top position, this is Australia's Loretta Harrop. It's around about a 7-second advantage over Barb Lindquist, who will be second out of the water for the USA. But Loretta Harrop very keen to prove her runner-up position in the last World Cup competition in Sydney last year. She went on to the World Championships, not really figuring there, but this is a young triathlete looking to make her mark early on in this season. She's had a scintillating swim. Rena Hill there is in 4th position. Now Rena, one of the top Australians on their Summer Grand Prix series, no stranger to the podium, but it is Harrop who gets onto the bike first away. Not the smoothest, not the quickest of transitions. There you see Barb Lindquist just behind her. Also Sharon Donnelly getting onto the bike, and Rena Hill will be in the early chase pack. But Loretta Harrop, very much a swim specialist from Australia, has the early advantage. We'll now look back at the field after we see Loretta get into her first climb, this difficult bridge they'll take in 14 times. Now we see Isabelle Mouton, Michaeli Jones and Gail Lawrence heading into the transition area. Some 53 seconds behind. Climbing the bridge now with the wind going against them, Catherine. This is the key area and the most difficult part of this Ishigaki course.
This is one of the toughest courses I've seen. They do come out of the water. They have no time to rest in transition. They've got the lactic buildup in their arms. And about 50 yards out of the swim, the transition there, they have to go straight up that hill, which is surprisingly steep.
Coming out of the water down in 26th position. Emma Carney leaves a lot of work to do. Now going out of the transition area, her main rivals, world rank number 3, Isabelle Mouton, former world champion Michaeli Jones, Gail Lawrence, are all out of transition as Emma Carney gets off to that ever customary slow start. A new bike for this season, and let's hope that gives her the speed she's looking for. The official result after the swim section, 1.5 kilometres, Loretta Harrop of Australia, Lindquist for the USA, Hill and Gemignani of Italy, keeping the European hopes alive early on. 6.5 laps for this 40-kilometre bike course see 14 difficult climbs and some very technical turns throughout the town of Ishigaki. Lead group into their first lap, and already Rena Hill seems to have dropped off the early pace. That leaves Loretta Harrop, Sharon Donnelly, and the swim specialist from the United States of America, Bob Lindquist, blazing the trail.
I swam for 13 or 14 years competitively, and this is a challenge to try to master 2 other sports, but also to think of triathlon as one sport in itself, because you can't just do swim training, bike training, and run training. It's all triathlon training, and to just see that rate of improvement that's been a really fun part of the sport.
I've been having a hard time the last 2 years with my motivation, and every time I think about the Olympics and think about when I was 6 years old, that was my dream, was to go to the Olympics, and I just think I got to do it. All I have to do is last 2 more years, and knowing what kind of form everybody else is in and what kind of form everybody else can achieve, I know I can get there as well. That's not a problem. So it does really help to have those people and the level of competition just get that much better each year.
Lap 2, and it is now just America and Australia battling it out as the Canadian Sharon Donnelly has also dropped back into the chase group. There we see Loretta Harrop taking the lead for Australia, drafting well with Bob Lindquist, moving back down the field. These will be the main contenders for the top positions. Gail Lawrence is there for the USA, Isabelle Mouton for France, and Michaeli Jones. We still see no sign of Emma Carney, who, to remind you, is unbeaten on this course here in Ishigaki. But for now, it is Loretta Harrop for Australia, ahead of Bob Lindquist for the USA, who takes her turn in the lead. Emma Carney had exited the water 51 seconds behind Michaeli Jones' group, but in the second lap, working with Marie Overby of Denmark, caught up to join the chase group. In the second lap, Australia's Rena Hill, who had emerged from the swim in 4th place, was forced to pull out, suffering from headaches and nausea. Meanwhile, back at the front, Loretta Harrop and Bob Lindquist continued their lead, lying over 1 minute ahead of the rest of the field. A third of the way through the women's bike section, this is the chase group to the leaders, headed up by Emma Carney, who is slowly but surely looking to stamp her authority on this opening World Cup of the season. Isabelle Mouton is in there, also Canada's Sharon Donnelly, so Michaeli Jones, so some of the world's best looking to reel in the leaders. Bob Lindquist just to the left of Loretta Harrop. Now this is the second chase group, headed up by Jackie Gallagher, a former world champion back in 1996, looking to demonstrate her early season form. But the leaders still looking strong, and possibly, Catherine, this women's race will be decided in the final 10-kilometre run section.
Well, these two have done it before. They need to build a buffer on Emma Carney because these conditions are ideal for her. This is a perfect test of strength for Emma. She's had the fastest bike split in many races last season, and there isn't a rest for anyone here. Even though there's drafting, you can't hide behind people. There's so much wind coming from you from all sides. It's a very technical course, those steep, short hills. And so I think what it means is that Emma, the strongest biker out there, is going to have fresher legs when the run starts.
Carney continues to work well with Maria Overby of Denmark, the former world junior champion, pushing the chase group along, all looking to catch up Bob Lindquist, who continues to work well with Loretta Harrop there of Australia. They know that Carney has moved slowly but surely up the field. The question is, can they maintain the pace? Can they maintain their advantage? They're still over about a minute ahead of the likes of Carney and Gail Lawrence as we move back now to the third chase group. They're about 1 minute 7 seconds behind Emma Carney's chase group. That makes them around about 2 minutes 15 behind the leaders. And disappointment for Erika Molnar in that group, leaving herself a lot of work to do. Back to Carney's group once again. There she is, tucked in with the likes of Gail Lawrence just in front of her there. The American doing very well. As we heard earlier, desperate to make the American squad for the Olympics. But Loretta Harrop and the top athlete from the USA, Barb Lindquist, still continue to blaze a trail. They come into the bridge once again, picked up by the helicopter shot here. A great shot, just showing you how difficult it is. And Catherine, we're starting to see the pain on the faces. Not only is it a difficult climb, but it's very humid out there today.
It certainly is, although remember, these two have been racing together over the Australian summer season. They should be used to this kind of climate, to this humidity, and they've been training together as well. Barb's taken the winter off from the States and gone to live down in Australia and train with the group down there. So they really have a lot of experience racing together, and they know they need to keep this gap on the chase group.
Well, the chase group's now headed up by Isabelle Mouton. The French hope staying clearly alive there. Ooh, problems it is for Loretta Harrop. Very wide on the bend. Now, that could have cost the Australian dearly, if nothing else, shaken her confidence and self-belief on the bike, and that possibly the first indication that the chase group are starting to reel in the early leaders.
They're able to see when they go over the bridge. They can see how the chase group is moving up on them. They will be taking references. They have friends out there in the crowd who are giving them time references, and they know they really have to keep up the pace now.
Well, the leaders are nearing the end of the third lap. 3.5 laps into this competition, to be precise, and 6.5 to go. And it's looking quite ominous as the chase group continue to pick up the pace and challenge hard towards the leaders. Hard at Loretta Harrop and Barb Lindquist of the United States of America. The black outfit of the American now has the lead, and one feels Loretta Harrop really has given herself a little scare on the bike on that tight turn. Through the town, this is where the turns are tight. They have battled bravely, these two triathletes, but there is no question the likes of Carney are catching them. Emma Carney's chase group, which included 3 of the top 4 finishers at last year's World Championships, was slowly reeling in the leaders. As they moved into the 6th lap, they lay just 46 seconds behind. Erika Molnar, who blasted to the top of the World Triathlon last season, was in the 3rd chase pack, some 2 minutes 20 down the field.
There's Barb Lindquist shouting out to somebody to get a time reference for how far they're ahead of that chase pack. They must be getting anxious now. They're coming to the end. They've been working really hard. They've had the wind buffeting them from all angles, and they must be getting tired now. They know they're catching up. They've been able to see them on those turnarounds, and they've got a lot of work left if they want to keep that distance ahead of Emma Carney.
Just 1 lap to go for the leaders, Loretta Harrop and Barb Lindquist of the USA. This is that chase pack that has been making time and is drawing ever closer, certainly putting themselves within a striking position with a 10-kilometer run still to go. Barb Lindquist and Loretta Harrop possibly starting to feel the pressure, starting to feel the shadow of the chase group getting ever closer to them. Up and down the bridge they have to go just 1 more time. This climb really has started taking some of the strength and speed out of those leg muscles as Gail Lawrence powers head down, holding on to specially shaped bars, getting every inch of speed out of the bike as she possibly can. Their arch-rival, but often great friend, Emma Carney, is tucked right in behind him, and an indication, possibly, Catherine, that the leaders are tiring. They're regularly out of the saddle to climb the hill.
It's true, there are only 2 of them, so they really don't have anywhere to hide. Like I said before, this course is tough for everybody. There's no free ride there, but this bigger pack, they will have a bit more of a chance to rest in behind the others, not have the wind blowing at them so hard. So I think they are going to be a bit fresher come the end of the bike.
It's good to see Marie Overby of Denmark riding there. This is chase pack 2, just behind that of Lawrence and Emma Carney. This is Gallagher, Hock and Mika Soos of Belgium. Now that second chase group to these 2 leaders find themselves around about 2 minutes 15 seconds off the pace. There's no question that the leaders are tiring a little, but they should be able to hold on to top position with the advantage going into the final transition. And Barb Lindquist and Loretta Harrop continue to battle bravely. Harrop and Lindquist had led throughout the swim and bike legs, and in the final lap had picked up the pace. As they approached transition, they had stretched their lead once again to 1 minute 10 seconds. The question, would this be enough to hold off the wealth of talent that lay behind them? The Australian and the American Loretta Harrop and Bob Lindquist come into the transition area for the last time. Ahead of them a 10-kilometre run. Bob Lindquist clearly learning a lot from training alongside the Aussies this past summer, with the likes of Miles Stewart hoping to fine-tune her triathlon abilities. But Catherine, they've both been in this position before, and they've both been swallowed up before. This final 10-kilometre section really is the true test of the triathlete.
You've got to remember as well, Nick, that this is the first time really this season that these two have been tested over the 10K distance. The summer series that they did in Australia was generally only 2 or 3 kilometres in the run. And also their personal best is at least 3 minutes slower than Emma's. Emma's capable of running about a 35 or 36-minute 10K. So I say that a 1 minute 10-second buffer isn't really enough for these two.
Well, just to remind any viewers new to the sport of triathlon today, this is the Olympic distance, a 10-kilometre run ahead of these two competitors now. Of course, this is the distance that they will compete in as this sport makes its debut in the Millennium Olympics in Sydney in the year 2000. Bob Lindquist leads for the United States of America, taking a quick gel energy drink as the chase pack now arrive. They're all amongst them, the big stars and some of the new stars in the making. No question, familiar in the blue USA swimsuit there is Gail Lawrence. Overby of Denmark is keeping the European hopes alive, and most importantly Emma Carney, who's had a flying bike section, is also amongst this chase group.
A flying bike section indeed, Nick. She's had the fastest time of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 1 second. It's good to see McKeely Jones up there. These two have had a rivalry over the years. I think they're pretty much even now on wins, and Emma will be very glad to have that chance to run with McKeely Jones. Remember, she had that foot accident. She had a bloody foot. She couldn't do very well in the run in Perth and was third behind Emma. So this will be a true test of the two strongest runners.
Confirmation of the standings after both swim and bike sections. Lindquist from Harrop. Emma Carney battles up into third, with Overby having a good bike section. Mouton fifth for France. Back to the leaders, and Loretta Harrop looks the stronger of the two runners. Bob Lindquist for the US now looking a little tired in those legs. This is the second chase group. First in looks to be Christina Hock, but certainly Jackie Gallagher and Mika Sues are amongst them. 2 minutes 41 behind the leaders.
It's unusual to see Jackie Gallagher so far off the pace, as she did come out of the water just ahead of Emma, but she did crash on her bike a couple days ago. She was feeling a bit bruised, and her bike was probably not in the best of shape, so she's lost almost 2 minutes to Emma on that bike section.
Anja Dittmar of Germany there had her fair share of problems hooking up the bike to the special railings. This group will really need to fly in the run section if they're to claim a podium position, knowing that some of the finest runners lay ahead of them. Now, as predicted, Bob Lindquist for the USA looks to be tiring in the run section. Loretta Harrop is picking up the pace, but there is no question the Australian now holds on to top spot. The 4-lap run course is similar to that of the bike, without the bridge climb to be taken in. Each lap, of course, 2.5 kilometres in length. Loretta Harrop now finds herself all alone. Bob Lindquist continues to fall off the pace. Harrop looking to go one place better than her runner-up in Sydney, but we see Emma Carney starting to pick up the pace and make her challenge. She's now just 43 seconds behind the leader, so she's already making up 30 seconds. Bob Lindquist will be the first one to be caught by Emma Carney. Harrop tries to keep the focus. 4th, 5th and 6th is Isabel Mouton, McKeely Jones and Marie Overby, with Emma Carney looking the strongest of them all. Harrop holds on to the lead. Emma Carney's ferocious pace out of transition soon brought her within seconds of the leader at the end of the first lap. She overtook Lindquist and was fast approaching Harrop as they moved into the second. Jackie Gallagher had started the run in 12th position, but by the second lap of 4 had fought back to 5th place. The halfway stage in the 10-kilometre run, 1 hour 45 minutes into the total event, and Emma Carney is now catching Loretta Harrop. Once again, Carney looks to prove that she will remain undefeated on this Ishigaki course. She kicks in, strides clear. Loretta Harrop has no answer to that. The World Cup and World Champion of last season stamps her authority on this competition, and surely now, Catherine, there is no stopping Emma Carney, perhaps the only competitor out there, Jackie Gallagher, who left herself so much to do after the early stages.
So much to do, 1 minute and 45 seconds in fact, and I don't think that Jackie can make up that time, as fine a runner as she is. One thing I do know is that Emma will be very happy to be so far ahead of her arch rival McKeely Jones. After the World Championships last year, after McKeely's accident, everybody was was saying that who knows what would have happened if McKeely hadn't been injured. And this is Emma's vindication. She's clearly far ahead of the others, and I think she's going to take this race.
Well, we look for Erika Molnar. She's down in 6th position. Also with her is Mika Suze. Top Japanese competitor Niwata Kiyomi is also amongst the top 10 placed runners. Claire Carney, younger sister to the leader Emma Carney. They're all approximately 2 minutes 38, but Emma Carney really is driving ahead. She's showing that she's come to the start of this World Cup season in fantastic form and really is looking incredibly strong. Loretta Harrop dropping further and further back. It's only a matter of time, perhaps, before Harrop is caught by the chase group, particularly Jackie Gallagher and Erika Molnar. No question, Emma Carney in scintillating form. Carney's awesome strength and fitness was clearly on display. As she approached the finish line, she had built a 1 minute 40 lead on the rest of the field. Jackie Gallagher had battled her way into 2nd place. She had fought hard, but it was too little too late, and victory was beyond her grasp. Emma Carney destined to take the opening triathlon of the 1998 World Cup season. A memorable 20th victory, the first time a triathlete has ever reached that figure in World Cup victories, and she really has sent a chilling message to the rest of the world of triathlon in this superb start to the season. A perfect start to the defence of your World Cup title. She'll be the favourite for the World Championship once again. A lovely little bow to Prince and Princess Takamado, who are two great triathlon fans here amongst this crowd, who have enjoyed every moment of Emma Carney's challenge. No question that round 1 has gone to the Australian Emma Carney, still unbeaten in Ishigaki. Jackie Gallagher has done so well in this final 10-kilometre run section, way down the field on what can only be described by her, if nobody else, as a disappointing swim and bike section. The 96 world champion will be the main threat to Emma Carney this season. Jackie Gallagher, the runner-up in Ishigaki. And making it a clean sweep for Australia and the perfect blueprint of the 97 World Championships. 3rd spot goes to Michaeli Jones. The best of the Europeans, Isabelle Mouton of France taking 4th. And a fantastic performance for Erika Molnar taking 5th position for Hungary.
The triathlon these days, there's such tough competition, so just got to really take one win as it comes, so you enjoy it.
I was in the group that was 10th to 18th off the bike. I think we were a minute and a half down on the 2nd pack, so I was just trying to run down a few people and get into the top 5, and that was awesome. I feel like I ran really well to get 2nd. I probably had the fastest run, I hope, so yeah.
Australia get the perfect start to the season with Carney, Gallagher and Jones taking the top 3 places. Mouton, Molnar and Overby say that the Europeans will be a threat throughout the tour. Claire Carney, Loretta Harrop, Sharon Donnelly and Kiyomi doing well to take